Welcome back to the show. I'm right wing Rico Limbaugh. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I wasn't necessarily a huge JD Vance fan, but and don't get me wrong, the whole moving Charlie Kirk's body within a couple of days and you're flying him back to Arizona and all this other weird stuff, and the fact that none of these people have any curiosity that they're willing to share with us publicly about what happened to Charlie, with there's so many inconsistencies and holes in the official story. I don't like it and I don't respect it. So it's hard for me to pretend like I'm so impressed about everything else these guys do, because if they're willing to walk over Charlie's grave and not care about what happened to him enough to be honest or to even seek the truth, I can't respect you. But it is respectable the fact that he was willing to go up and take unscripted questions from people who might be pro or against Trump and the administration. I wanted to play a little bit of this. Benny Johnson, who I really do, I'm a fan of, he thinks that JD Vance could be president number 48. And I'll be honest, I can see it, because with Republicans being so meek and weak and pathetic, that's an understatement for what a Republican is. To see someone who has a little bit of bravery, a little bit of fire in him is refreshing. Usually Republicans are no more than just speed bumps for liberal Democrat agendas. And hold on there, Democrats, slow down just a little bit. We're going to let you do it, but just slow down a little bit. Never any fight, never any, no strength. Basically allowing this communist Democrat agenda that's literally funded by the tax money from our capitalist society, which I don't like it. But JD Vance did take questions. I do respect it. I wanted to hear a couple of these questions and give you some thoughts. Let me see what happened here. Where is the volume? I was just playing the volume. Oh, there we go. Sorry.
These policies are not even solving the problems. These policies are just creating
No, no,
chaos.
ma'am. Okay, so again, I'm gonna finish answering the question, and then if I've answered all 9 of your questions in less than 15 minutes, then we can keep on going. We got to have a little fun, right? So here's the thing. I can believe that the United States should lower its levels of immigration in the future, while also respecting that there are people who have come here through lawful immigration pathways that have contributed to the country. But just because one person or 10 people or 100 people came in legally and contributed to the United States of America, does that mean that we're thereby committed to let in 1 million or 10 million or 100 million people a year in the future? No, that's not right. We cannot.
I absolutely agree with that. I hate that people keep bringing up to me, but Rico, when Ellis Island was open, all these people came from Europe. So fucking what? That was 100 and something years ago. So what? That doesn't mean we still owe you and your black ass family members from Zimbabwe free food and housing for the next 100 years. We should just let you come over here, run for office, and turn our home country that we're in, that we love, into the shithole you left from. False. False. And the reason I said black ass is because those are the only people making these arguments. They literally hate this country at its core, want it gutted, but what do they want it to turn into? Nobody knows. They have not ran their own society successfully anywhere on earth, but they want to come here to the United States and give us advice on how we should run our governments. I don't appreciate that. I don't like it. I don't like to see it. That's like me being Cuban, right? And I come to the United States and I want to run for public office as a communist. I want to come here and pretend that I'm Mandani. If I enjoy communism so much, why did I not remain in Cuba and make Cuba great again? Stay your ass where you're from. If you're not coming to the United States to become American, then don't come. If you're not coming here to learn English and to eat hamburgers and to develop a taste for Taylor Swift, then don't come here. Stay where the fuck you're at. Coming here to complain about it makes no sense. It's like a restaurant. Or you go to, it's like, why go to a restaurant that you're going to just complain about the food? Why not just go eat where you like to eat or eat at home? What are you doing here? Why come here just to complain? Go back where you're from. If you're in the United States currently and you hate how things are going, escape. If you're oppressed and this place is antithetical to your beliefs and you don't like law enforcement, you don't like the laws, escape. But it's not hard to escape. You can just drive to any airport and just bug out, leave. But don't come here and expect us to just lay down our laws, open up the doors, welcome you all in so you can live off of our social services for free, and you just scam our. Get the hell out of here. I'm sick of even tiptoeing around and trying to pretend like that is okay. It's not. Oh, well, be nice and shut the fuck up. You people that are convincing us to just give up everything are not the ones willing to dig in your pockets and do nothing. You want all these illegals in, but when people ask you, well, how many can come stay at your house? You say 0. Then you shut the hell up. You don't have any skin in the game. You just want a virtue signal because you think that you're a bad person. You probably are a bad person. And the virtue signaling is not going to change who you are at your core. See, me personally, I actually do good when I can. So I don't have to virtue signal for anyone. There's nothing for me to prove. I live it. But when you're not living it, you try to virtue signal so you can pretend that you're a better person than you really are. You're really a piece of trash. But let's continue to see what this person has to say.
Not have, but I'll go and finish. We cannot have an immigration policy where what was good for the country 50 or 60 years ago binds the country inevitably for the future. There's too many people who want to come to the United States of America, and my job as vice president is not to look out for the interests of the whole world. It's to look out for the people of the United States.
What he just basically said was, shut the hell up, America first, Americans first. And then he mumbled, America only. See, if Vance can prove over the next 3 years that he's not just America first, but he's America only, then he will be the next, the 48th president. I don't want anyone to come along and stop what Trump's progress. Putting America first and putting Americans first is why my friends, barely 200 days into Trump's presidency, my friends in California have construction jobs for the first time in their life. My friends are getting jobs in office buildings and restaurants, jobs that since we were kids, we thought never existed because they were always given to illegals. And if you're not an illegal willing to work under the table for half the price, then you can't compete in the job market. So what do people in California do? They start committing crimes or doing other stuff to try to make money just so they can survive. This is the first time my friends have ever been offered jobs in California, because the workforce has been removed. Matter of fact, my other friends in Georgia, he said, and I did a story on this the other day, Home Depot is actually paying for people to go to trade school and learn trades and be certified so that they can do HVAC, plumbing, free Nothing in this country has ever been free. Education is not free. Not a good education. Not a good education that you can not an education that you can turn into income. That has never been free. Now they're training Americans to learn these trades because they know, at least in the foreseeable future, these illegals will not be able to get jobs in these companies and come over here and undercut our workforce. So they're training Americans. So you mean to tell me all these years went by where Americans have been kicked to the side, where people say idiotic bull like there's just not enough Americans. What do you mean there's not enough Americans for the jobs? There's over 300 million of us. Where do you think we all work? A lot of people were literally depending on social services because they couldn't find work because of all these goddamn illegals. Because of these illegals, all of our rents are high. But yet, what do you mean we're not having a housing shortage? Oh, well, because of how many people are supposed to live in the city versus how many people are actually here, the numbers are completely different. So it's not making sense why the rent's so high. Now the rents are going down because the amount of illegals is going away. It's going down too. So no, that has to change. If Vance can just prove that he's going to be America first and Americans first, Americans only, not worried about gender studies in Quebec or some other nonsense, then he will be the 48th president. Guaranteed. I'll make sure he is.
I'm just wondering, well, it's not necessarily something you did wrong, but it's what could someone else do wrong? Let's say we get a complete tyrant in office, and let's say Turning Point USA is having a huge protest against something really bad that we don't like, and let's say he's a president is saying that it's getting violent. How can we? I'm trying to think. My mind's kind of blank. What is the difference between what you're doing and how could we prevent someone from abusing that power?
Yeah. So look, I understand where the question is coming from, and I think
I'll be honest. That's a tough question because I don't necessarily understand what he's trying to say. I think what he means is, on the flip side, if we get a president that's not America first, how do we stop them from pushing their agenda, which might be a communist socialist agenda where they're basically just buying the votes of the majority of people by offering them free shit. And then that's how they're able to take away our freedoms. And when I say take away our freedoms, just the freedoms we lost, like during the lockdown, the freedom to travel, freedom to gather, freedom to, unless you're doing BLM, we lost our freedom to protest. Remember, it was illegal because you weren't allowed to be in front of these in the state buildings because of this fake virus. Yeah, there was a lot of freedoms taken away during the lockdown. If Trump didn't win and we had Kamala Harris, believe me, there would be another scamdemic would have already started. We'd probably be in lockdown right now. And we would be losing a lot of our freedoms. They would do gun confiscation. Elon Musk would be in jail just because he wanted to protect free speech. And I'm not even an Elon Musk fan. I'm literally fighting with Tesla right now because of one of their defective cars. So, but the truth is the truth. I think that's what he's saying. I wonder, let's see how Vance answers this question.
It's a fair question. And it's going to sound like I'm being sarcastic, and it really is not meant in any offense. But when you talk about what could another administration do, to take a wild, hypothetical example totally off the top of my head, what if Joe Biden sent the Federal Bureau of Investigation to start arresting his political opponents? Okay? So here's something that I want conservatives, I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it. That is.
Yeah, so basically what he's saying is that a lot of people don't want to break political norms. Trump, when he first was president, he said he would lock up Hillary. Once he got arrested, he said, I'm not going to lock her up. That's not normal. We don't normally do that. First chance they got, they went after Trump with everything and they lost. So thinking that the Democrats aren't going to do it if you don't do it, that's a failed policy. We just recently found out that they're willing to do anything to anybody. Don't underestimate them. So it doesn't matter. They literally sent the Department of Justice after a former sitting president, which is unheard of. But they did it. So we can't be afraid going forward. What he's basically saying is that all bets are off. And we're going to do what we can to save our country indefinitely because I guess they found out the agenda. They found out the plan, and they know more about it than regular Americans. Regular Americans are their heads are buried in the sand, and they're too worried about virtue signaling and pretending to be good people, and they don't want to seem like they're being racist or prejudiced just because they're wanting to protect their country and their sovereignty. So we have to literally protect them people from themselves in the meantime. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to lose my country because some people have their feelings hurt. Fuck that.
That is the takeaway of the last 40 years. I think the premise of your question, I don't totally share it because I don't think perfect neutrality is possible. You talk about history. Was Christopher Columbus a great explorer, or was he a guy who committed genocide against the native populations? These debates, I'm happy to have them, but I reject the idea that there are truly neutral debates. Anybody who's telling you their view is neutral likely has an agenda to sell you, and I'm at least honest about the fact that I think the Christian foundation of this country is a good thing.
Now, again, it's funny. A few years ago, I was one of those people that was like, oh, happy Indigenous Day. Let's be real with ourselves. they lost. This land was conquered. They had no form of government here. Now, say you don't believe in our government and you don't like that we have a government and blah, blah, blah. Then guess what? Leave. If you are staying here, then your silence is your consent. You are also now a colonizer. If you want to call people colonizers, but you live here and you speak the colonizer's language, you have their same religion, and you still live on the stolen land, you are also the colonizer too. So if you don't like it, leave and build up an army and come try to fight us and come take it back. Good luck. But don't just sit around here and cry. There's nothing for it. Don't be a sore loser. Don't do that. If you want it, come get it back in blood. Nobody's stopping you. Take it. Come take it. But we're not going to just give it to you. If you want it, come take it. But you're a colonizer too. Until I see you move to another country and learn their native language and stop speaking English, then I'm not taking you seriously. So, okay, next question.
Ethnic cleansing in Gaza. I'm just confused why this idea has come around, considering the fact that not only does their religion not agree with ours, but also openly supports the prosecution of ours.
He meant the open persecution of our religion, which is true. Judaism is opposed to Christianity. They hate Jesus. They see him as a criminal, and they celebrate his death. They don't respect. Actually, if you're a Christian in Israel, then you're an enemy. They want to weed us out. So that's a very good question on how we can be allies with the country that literally it's in their doctrine to not like us and our values. And what he's gonna say is it's a good enough answer. It's kind of the answer I gave somebody the other day. Trump is not 100% dedicated to Israel like others. We did attack Iran, but did we go any further than that? No. And we're not. And actually, Netanyahu, he feels like he's confident about his control over Trump, but Trump doesn't like to. From what I can tell, it doesn't seem like Trump likes people pretending that they control him. And now he's not giving Netanyahu everything that he wants. So we'll see where that goes. But that was a good question. How do you reconcile that your closest ally, their entire doctrine is against your Christian values, which our nation is built off of? So let's look into it. Let's listen to his answer.
Yeah. So let's say a few things about this. First of all, when the President of the United States says America first, that means that he pursues the interests of Americans first. That is our entire foreign policy. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have alliances, that you're not going to work with other countries from time to time. And that is what the president believes, is that Israel, sometimes they have similar interests to the United States and we're going to work with them. In that case, sometimes they don't have similar interests to the United States. And this example, the most recent Gaza peace plan that all of us have been working on very hard for the past few weeks, the president of the United States could only get that peace deal done by actually being willing to apply leverage to the state of Israel. So when people say that Israel is somehow manipulating or controlling the president of the United States, they're not controlling this president of the United States, which is one of the reasons why we'd be able to have some of the success that we've had in the Middle East. People said that the president of the United States was going to get us into a multi-100,000 troop regime change war for Israel. This was 4 months ago. This was 6 months ago. Now, the people who accused the president of the United States of wanting to get us into a regime change war for Israel, I wonder if they stepped back and said, you know what, we were wrong about that, because the president of the United States did not want to get us into a regime change war for any other country. He wanted to knock out a nuclear facility and get everybody back home, and that's exactly what he did. My honest view is that right now, America, thanks in part to the Biden border invasion, but also thanks in part to a lot of bad immigration policy, right now, we have let in too many immigrants into the United States of America. That is just a fundamental reality. Now,
and that's it. Finally, politicians that are in charge are saying, hey, everybody keeps wanting to tell us the benefits of immigrants. Let's look at the downside. Now that we're looking at the downside, it doesn't outweigh the risk, and the reward is not outweighing the risk. There's no net benefit anymore. We have enough people here already. we're going to have to stop immigration. There's no need for it anymore. It's not benefiting us, it's benefiting others. The only people it benefits are very few people that own companies that would love to pay their employees a lot less, because then their profit margin for their shareholders grows. And you don't have to, you can pay them less. Like I remember where I used to live at years ago in Phoenix. I worked for a housing company, Oakwood, but next to me was a building, and I don't even know what they were doing in there, but I just knew it was like Indian guys dressed up every day, going in and out of the office. And then in the apartment building I lived in, all my neighbors became like Indian people all of a sudden. It'll be like 3 or 4 families of well-dressed people, look like they're going to work every day. And I'm like, man, that's like 5 different families living in this 2-bedroom. And they all work at that office across the street. And I see their name tags and they go to work and stuff. And I'm like, okay, if you guys are having jobs where they're paying you that good, why are you guys all stuffed into this apartment? And you find out it's literally, this is another form of slavery. They pay them a lot less, no benefits, and they put you into housing. And there are people that are headhunters that go to India, for example, and they find the employees. They're offering these people half of the money, and then they'll give them a small stipend per person that they recruit. So they don't have to pay you that much, and then covering the housing, the company's still saving 60% more than they would if they would have hired somebody that was just an American. Just because we have different laws over here as far as employment for our citizens. And knowing that people are being exploited like this, yeah, they're doing better than they would in their home country, but at whose expense? Those are American jobs that people from other countries are working. So that means there's an American that's out of work for that position that was literally created in his home country that he should have access to. He has the education. It's not like these people are smarter than you. They just will work for less than you. These are brain jobs. These aren't jobs that require you to be tall or strong, or as far as mental capacity, it's not really much different. If anything, these people, there's a learning curve because they don't speak English very well. So if anything, it's not like they're smarter than you. They're just willing to work for less. So that means they're actually dumber than you, really. If they knew their worth, they would have tried to apply for citizenship while they were here and escape the plantation and be able to go get a job where they can, make a normal wage and get some of these American rights that we take for granted. But instead, they work under these companies where they're making less. Yeah, they dressed up and they got an apartment. They don't got to live in India, but they're being exploited. Oh, yeah, that's why we have to just stop immigration. It's not really even worth, the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore for the country or for the people here.
Now, look, legal immigration is complicated because we let in about 1 million legal immigrants into the United States of America every single year. And I think the evidence is pretty clear that a lot of those immigrants are actually undercutting the wages of American workers. It's one of the reasons why the President of the United States and a lot of us in the administration have encouraged H-1B reform, because if you look at the H-1B visa, what it's supposed to be is that you have a super genius who's studying at an American university, who's working at a great company. You want that super genius to stay in the United States of America and not go somewhere else.
But on the flip side, you might lose a super genius American who can't find a good job over here because he's displaced by a bunch of foreign workers working for pennies on the dollar. If there's another country, they could nowadays another country could recruit an American to go there to live and to work. A super genius. What makes you think these people are super geniuses? Because they have an accent? They're not smarter than you. They're not smarter than these other, unless these Americans are autistic. You can't compare. All Americans are not the same. There's a high amount of us that have autism due to childhood injections that were given. So you can't compare them. But a regular American with a full mental capacity, these people aren't super geniuses compared to us. So that's an unfair comparison, Mr. Vance. But at the bottom line, less immigration means more opportunities for Americans, and we're going to go ahead and stick with that.
It's actually used to do is hire an accountant at a 50% discount to an American citizen. I don't think that we should be hiring accountants from foreign countries when we've got accountants right here in the United States that would love to work for a good wage.
Can you tell us how your faith helps you in your role as vice president?
Well, I appreciate that. That is a very good question. And this is another way in which Charlie has affected my life. I would say that I grew up, again, in a generation where even if people had very deep personal faith, they didn't talk about their faith a whole lot. And I grew up in a country where you just didn't hear political leaders talk about their faith. But the reason why I try to be the best husband I can be, the best father I can be, the reason why I care so much about all the issues that we're going to talk about is because I believe that I've been placed in this position for a brief period of time to do the most amount of good for God and for the country that I love so much. And
I'll be honest, that's a good answer. I want somebody in office that wants to do good in the eyes of God, but also in the best interest of our country. And if we have a shared vision of what's in the best interest of our country, then what's in the best interest of our country, which is based on my opinion. Some people, they think the best interest of this country is for everything to burn and for anybody who's white to be assassinated. And when you give people like that a voice and you allow them to spread radicalized speech that is targeting anybody who's white or conservative, I mean, you gotta get rid of it. Can't allow it. But I'll be honest with you, those types of problems are the only ones so far we've been able to vaccinate our way out of, or it's being worked up. If you know, you know, if you know what I mean. Like and subscribe, share the video, Right Wing Rico. I'll be back with another topic in a few minutes. Thank you for tuning in. Cheers.